Well, good morning. This is Ian R. Crane. Unfortunately, this morning we're only broadcasting on Facebook. One of the cameras seems to have gone missing for the moment, so we'll upload to YouTube a bit later. But it's the morning of Monday, 19th February 2018, and as you can see here, if you're watching on Facebook, I'm at Etis Enal Reknit, otherwise known as the Tinker Lane site of iGas here in North Nottinghamshire. But of course the big story today, or over the weekend, was the massive seismic event centred just north of Swansea in South Wales on Saturday afternoon. Now, there was a lot of immediate speculation of was this related to fracking, and in fact when I was first told about this, I was told that the epicentre was much further north, up around the Blackpool area. And of course my immediate reaction was yes, because had this been centred anywhere near Preston New Road, then it would have forced Quadrilla to stop work immediately, pending further research and investigation as to whether their activity had triggered this seismic event. But the epicentre of this activity, the seismic activity, was 200 miles away in South Wales. But nonetheless, it didn't stop the speculation that this was triggered by some fracking or drilling activity. Well, Dutch Sint, who many viewers will be familiar with, has done some truly outstanding work over the past few years of linking seismic activity, and certainly the increase in seismic activity in the US, to fracking and to re-injection. But forgive me, Dutch, but I think you were a little bit quick off the mark here when you claimed that this was the first fracking earthquake in the UK. Now, admittedly, I did actually make a mistake, because I did respond and said, well, you know, there hasn't been any drilling activity in that area. But actually, I was forgetting, of course, the two exploratory wells, relatively shallow exploratory wells that were drilled by UK Methane back in 2013, and this was when a number of wells were drilled under the radar whilst all eyes were on Balcombe in the summer of 2013. And it was really before the anti-fracking movement really became established in this country, and certainly not in South Wales. Since then, of course, since those two exploratory wells were drilled, and they were some 20 odd miles away from the epicentre of this earthquake, but that was, you know, 5 years ago. So since then there has been no activity in South Wales, and of course last year the South Wales government put an effective moratorium in place on any further drilling or fracking activity, certainly any drilling activity related to unconventional exploitation. So as much as I would love to be claiming that, you know, there was some direct relationship between the drilling or fracking activity or potential fracking activity in the northwest or even in the northeast, the reality is that that is extremely unlikely. Now, if a seismologist or geophysicist or geologist wants to tell me that you know, there is the distinct possibility that this could be linked to something going on 200 miles away, then, you know, well, certainly we'll give it some consideration. But I think this is probably more related, if anything, to the extensive mining in the area over the previous 2 centuries. But needless to say, I mean, there will be a lot of concern, and there will be a lot more study that goes into this. It was a 4.2 on the Richter scale, so not the biggest earthquake ever to happen in the UK. The biggest one was in 1931, just off the coast of Kent on the Dogger Bank, and that was 6.2. And the other largish earthquakes that have occurred, there was one in Sheffield, I believe, in 2008, and another one somewhere around about the same time in Kent, both of which were of a similar magnitude to this one in Wales. But now, of course, the anti-fracking community, this fastest growing social movement that the UK has seen in living memory, basically, and they're all over it. So the reality is that no drilling, and certainly no fracking, is going to take place anywhere in the UK without massive scrutiny. So all eyes obviously are still on what's happening in South Wales, because there's probably going to be some aftershocks, and it's going to be very interesting to see what emerges over the next few weeks or so as the hypothesis for what has triggered this. But anyway, Dutch, I just want to say that, you know, whilst, you know, you may have been a bit quick off the mark here, nonetheless, you know, the work that you've been doing in the US, particularly highlighting the relationship between the massive increase in seismic activity and the fracking across the country, and of course, in particular, the re-injection in Oklahoma, then that has been absolutely invaluable. And you know, just because, you know, every now and again we make a little bit of a faux pas, it's not a showstopper. And I really would encourage people who haven't come across Dutch since to check out his YouTube channel and maybe follow his Twitter feed, because if something is going down, then, you know, Dutch is probably going to be the first one to get that information out there. But as is always the case, and it applies to all of us, you know, don't take anything that we say at face value. You know, check it out for yourself and come to your own determination. So, you know, the Earth this time did move, but not for the mother frackers. Although, you know, we are watching you, watching us, watching you. So, you know, you know how that works. Right, meanwhile, of course, a fantastic article in The Observer this weekend, documenting, you know, what's been occurring at Kirby, Misperton over the last, well, year now, but certainly the last few months since Barclays Bank, trading as Third Energy, started moving kit onto the site there in the latter part of September. And here we are now in the latter part of February, and that kit is all going back whence it came. And of course, Third Energy are still claiming that they're just taking the kit off temporarily whilst the Secretary of State, Greg Clark, reviews their finances, and they'll be back. Got news for you, Third Energy? No, you won't, because your accounts suck. This is the most appalling managed company that I've seen in a long time. You know, debt levels of over 100 times annual revenue. It's a dog. So no one's going to touch your company. No one other than Barclays Bank is going to throw any more money into this literal and metaphorical black hole. So, you know, the smart thing to do is just acknowledge that you're dead and buried. And, you know, so nobody's going to be coming back to Kirby Misperton unless, of course, INEOS step up to the plate. And that opens a whole new can of worms as people really start to realise that INEOS is a private company owned by arch-sociopath Jim Ratcliffe, whose sole motivation for mining the gas is to reduce the cost of his feedstock so that he can manufacture even more plastics to pollute the planet. And if you wanted to come across the irony of the month, look no further than Kevin Hollinsnake, the MP for Rydale, who has announced that he and 40 other MPs are giving up the use of single-use plastic for Lent. Yet he is the cheerleader, the spokesboy for fracking. And so he wants to push fracking across his constituency and hasn't yet made the link, it seems, between fracking, INEOS and plastics. Well, I think, Kevin, the vast majority of your independent thinking constituents know precisely what you are. You are the poster boy. You were put in there to push this agenda, and basically, as far as being an MP, you're a disgrace. You're a total disgrace, and you should hang your head in shame. And you know, you're the guy who claimed that the collapse of Carillion showed the success of the government's public finance or private finance initiative in terms of public projects. So only somebody who lives in an alternate reality could actually claim that to be a success. So North Yorkshire, of course, continues with the celebration. They continue to watch to see the kit goes off. Third Energy claim that they're going to keep some of the kit on there in readiness for the return of the kit later this year. Well, what are you going to keep there? A couple of lengths of pipe? Because all the rest of the kit is costing you money that you don't have, and borrowing that basically is becoming increasingly difficult for you to get. So, you know, really the smart thing to do would be for the likes of Alan Lynn to admit that you have no idea how to be a director of a company that's in this situation. And you know, the likelihood is that you're putting your other directorships at risk by associating yourself with this lemon. So continue those celebrations, continue watching, continue monitoring that kit coming out, and you know, then we'll see what transpires from there. Meanwhile, down at Etis Enal Rexit, the Tinker Lane site, back to front, you see. Oh, here we got a vehicle coming in. Well, he thinks it's coming in. No, it's going to pull over somewhere else. There you go, smart move, guys. Anyway, so I'm here, and this is obviously iGas, and I'm back here with Lou Hammond. We'll just get Lou to stand on those yellow pages.
Shut up.
There we go. So, Lou.
Hi, guys.
You had a good day here on Friday.
Interesting, busy day.
And from the... Come a bit closer to the microphone, because there's a bit of background noise. I'll drop the camera a tad. There we go.
Thank you.
So, because on Thursday you documented the flagrant breaches of reversing off the main road and then reversing an Arctic out of the site onto the main road.
Yep.
And they were of course reported to the local authority, and by Friday morning they'd actually built a facility for turning the vehicles round.
Yeah, well, on Friday they could turn round in there, where apparently they were backing up because they couldn't turn round in there.
Right, well, this is Ian R. Crane. We're back at Tinker Lane. The live stream strangely cut out at around about 8:40 this morning. But anyway, in the minutes after that, a surfer decided to take the wave here at Tinker Lane. So that was somewhat opportune. You were in full flow in the live stream at the time.
I was, yeah, rudely interrupted.
Yeah.
Again.
You were encouraging people from the Blythe area to take an interest in what's going on in their backyard.
Yeah, I just want to reassure people that the locals in this area that I've never done anything like this before. Come down, spend 10 minutes with us, come and see what's going on in your area. Not mine, not my area, your area. Come down and see us, have a chat with us, nothing to be worried about here. It's a very calm situation. We've managed to stop work on the site, so there's no work going on because they've run out of aggregate. So we have managed to stop work on site, and we would like to encourage anybody in this local area, if you could spare any time at all, get down to site, stop this industry in your area, your backyard. Not mine, your backyard. Please.
And of course, as we always say, don't take our word for it. Do your own research. There isn't a single location anywhere in the world where this industry has become established where there have not been problems with water contamination, soil contamination, and of course what's becoming increasingly evident is the magnitude of very, very serious health impacts. And on Friday I was encouraging people to watch the video of Dr. Geraldine McCarran, an Irish doctor now based in Brisbane, who has documented the phenomenal increase in respiratory and circulatory problems amongst the residents of the people who live in the heart of the gas fields. And as Brian Monk says, you know, 12 years ago it all started with just one well, and now it's a sacrifice zone of the highest order. So should we have a word with the surfer?
Yes, let's do.
Are you up to
Yeah.
give a live one?
Yeah.
So maybe you can explain why you're there.
So I'm just wanting to stop iGas working altogether, basically, and work altogether. Yeah.
And you've done your research?
Yeah. Plenty, little bits and bats of research, knowing what the company's doing to the land, and there's water. So I like fresh water, so this is why I'm here.
So, but you're not encouraging local people to come surf, are you?
No.
You just encourage them to come out and support and see what's going on.
Plenty of support. Yeah. Thank you for all your support. Anyway, yeah. You've been very good.
And if anybody wants to catch up with you, you're going to be at Mansfield Court probably in the morning. Yeah,
I'll be at court morning if you all want to come down and support. Yeah, the words will be good.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So as we've seen, you know, most people participating in this concern against the unconventional gas industry are doing this for the first time. because it's the first time that they've actually realised that the magnitude of the lies and the deceit and the obfuscation that the government puts out. Because, you know, anyone who tells you that this is an industry that can be done safely and without any environmental impact, without any impact on the health of the local community, basically they are delusional or sociopathic.
Or I've got money in it.
Or got money in it.
Yeah.
You know, and sadly, of course, I mean, that's what these guys said this morning. You know, they were trying to bait us by saying, well, our cheque will be in the bank on Friday. Well, you know, hey, obviously some people have a price.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're prepared to sacrifice the future, environment for future generations by getting £8 an hour.
Absolutely, yeah. While others give up their whole lives to stop this industry, this is what we're up against. And any support, please get down to Tinker Lane and support this guy. First action he's ever done on behalf of this movement. Get down here and support him, please.
And it's being done on behalf of the people of Nottinghamshire.
Absolutely. We're not here for ourselves. This is not our backyard. We're here for you lot and to encourage you to please come and support. Let's stop this in your area.
And it can be stopped. Look at what's happened at Kirby Misperton.
Yeah.
You know, Third Energy were bragging that they would be fracking before the end of 2017, and now they're evacuating the site with their tail between their legs, having been found seriously wanting. You know, the lies that Third Energy have been telling the British government are even greater than the lies that the British government's been telling the people about this industry.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the good news is, of course, that you know, the community in North Yorkshire have been extremely effective in stopping the frack at Kirby Misperton. And, you know, here we are, over 5 years now since the moratorium was lifted, without a single frack in this country. And you know what? Right now, with the problems that Quadrilla are having at Preston New Road, I'd actually say there's a very, very good chance that we can get through 2018. One, without another frack taking place, although I'm not banking on that. You know, we have to do a lot of work in the meantime and help support, especially the people at PNR. But I also sense that actually the government wants shot of this, because they realise that this is, you know, gaining in support. And they got enough problems. Teresa's got enough problems without this.
I think when a community stands up and says no, the government has to listen eventually. You know, we're not in this for the money. We don't want any money out of this. We just want a ban on fracking. And they have to listen to us. If enough people stand up, they have to. They've got no choice. And the tide is turning. Now,
the other thing that we heard at the weekend is that, and this was from South Yorkshire, but the South Yorkshire police have been told that they have to be really careful of the anti-fracking community, because they're violent, they're likely to target their families, and you know, this is the classic tactic of demonising the enemy. And yet there has not been a single arrest for aggression or violence within the anti-fracking campaign for the past 5 years. But I will be in court on March the 6th in Northallerton as a witness against the Third Energy driver who deliberately knocked a cyclist off the road. And I'm pleased to say that the Crown Prosecution Service are bringing charges against him, and I shall be there as a witness to that incident. So when Kevin Hollinsnake, the Rydale MP, says that this campaign hasn't always been peaceful, he's absolutely correct, because those that haven't been peaceful tend to wear yellow jackets or are working for the unconventional gas industry.
So can I just say as well, we've got a court case, I think this week, in Chesterfield for the when we did the Marriott's camp, and somebody got headbutted by John T, the boss of Marriott's, and the police have run with that, and he's at court for assault this week. So I will be at that court case doing a live stream about that, so we'll see what happens
there. So since this anti-fracking campaign began, which was really at Borkham in July of 2013, there have been over 800 arrests, but a very small fraction of convictions. The vast majority of cases either haven't come to court or have been dismissed once they have come to court. And there, like I've said, there has not been a single case of aggression or violence by the anti-fracking community, despite the baiting that has been going on by both the police and the industry.
Absolutely, we're peaceful. We're peaceful protectors. We're trying to save our water, air and land. We're not interested in fighting anybody except this industry. And unfortunately, as we've seen, the police are the private armies for these industries. But on our side, no violence. But look at the videos in the past few years, all the violence you see from the police. And that's true. I don't want to pull the police down or anything, but look at the facts. All the violence we've seen in this movement has been from the police.
And of course the cost, you know, is not insignificant. £6 million cost has been the cost of the policing in Preston New Road. 620,000 plus the policing at Kirby Misperton. And of course here in Nottinghamshire there are two sites, Tinker Lane and Miston Springs. We're right at the front end here. The pads, well, they might be built if they can get the aggregate in, but
not today.
Not today. But you know, there's a long way to go, and I have a sense that the bill for the Nottinghamshire Police is not going to be insignificant.
Not if I have anything to do with it. No, it's not.
Excellent. So we're here at Tinker Lane. So if you are in the North Nottinghamshire, South Yorkshire, North West Lincolnshire area, please feel free to come down and surf's up.
Yep. Tinker Lane.
So have a great day, and you know, we'll be here.
Yep.
Most days. If we're not here, we're at
Well,
Miston Springs, but we'll be here. We'll be wherever I guess are trying to build a pad so that they can get their bits in the ground. But that ain't going to be anytime soon.
No. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Final word.
See you later.